only thing you have in a complex situation is the truth. That's all you have. That's why you have to abide by the truth, because when things get complex around you, how do I deal with this politically? How do I deal with this personally? What do I say in this terribly complex situation? All you have there that's solid ground is the truth. And one of the things to reflect upon in relationship to that is that's also why you have to live honestly, because it's very hard to tell the truth if you're simultaneously worried that the evidence of your past misbehavior, your past deceitful misbehavior is going to come to light. And so the reason you abide by the truth is so that you can say what you have to say about what you've done and who you are, and you can do that under impossibly difficult circumstances, and possibly that will sustain you through that in circumstances where if that's not possible, you're just going to get crushed. And people might say, well, being investigated by your professional body isn't exactly a life-threatening event, and you're just whining. It's like, look, for all you people who think that this is such a walk in the park, I'll tell you two things. Number one, I've known about 200 people who face this sort of thing now, and every single one of them, with the exception of those people who like a fight, right, a tiny, tiny minority of people, maybe one or two in that entire 200, they reacted as if they or someone they loved had contracted a life-threatening illness. I've known people, very stable people, extremely elegant, polished, educated, well-positioned, well-supported people who literally ended up in psych wards because of the pressure that was brought to bear on them by the accusatory mob. And so those of you who think this is a cakewalk, you just bloody well wait till your neighbors show up on your doorstep with pitchforks and torches, and you just see what that's like for yourself. So you better watch yourself very carefully if you think that the people who are complaining about being mobbed are just complaining because they can't take it.
Yeah.
So
that you also hear about, that's a silly thing to think too. You hear about university students who you can get bullied online. It's not life-threatening, but it is life-threatening to some people. Like, it makes some people suicidal from stress.
Well, look, there's two great classes of fear, Mikhaila. There's only two. One of them is death and physiological and psychological disintegration. So you could think about that as the terror of biological vulnerability. That's one class of fears. The second great class of fear is fear of social exclusion. And part of the reason is that historically, if you're socially excluded, you're dead. So they're the same fear, because your social inclusion protects you from dying, right? You work with other people, you cooperate with them, you play with them, you eat with them, you're dependent on their labor. You're literally sustained in your life by your social desirability and your inclusion. And so if that's taken away from you, your reputation is sullied or shattered, people shun you, not only are you loathsome and isolated, but you're really in trouble. And your nervous system reacts to that as if it's a mortal threat, which it is. And so, one of the problems with online culture and the culture of anonymity, people have been pointing to this and saying, well, now are you sorry that you've gone after anonymous trolls? Because look at what happens if you're not anonymous. Is I think, no, I still think you people are cowardly, and most of you are narcissists, and you don't have the courage of your convictions. And the problem of anonymity is that the anonymous denouncers get the upper hand, and the research is clear on this. I just talked to Del Paulus this week, the developer of the idea of the dark triad and the dark tetrad, and there's a huge body of research that's emerging showing that online trolls, especially the anonymous types, are much more likely to be, this is fun, narcissistic. So that means they want social status. They believe they deserve social status and that they should get it without earning it. Machiavellian, which means they'll manipulate other people instrumentally to get what they want, independent of the consequences for that person.
Wow.
Psychopathic, which means they're predatory and parasitical. Parasitical meaning they're perfectly willing to use your work as means for their sustenance. And this is the new part of the dark tetrad, which has expanded it beyond the triad. sadistic.
Lovely.
Which means taking a positive delight in the evident suffering of others. Not only failure to experience that suffering, so that callousness that might be part and parcel of, being disagreeable and tough, but actually experiencing a positive delight in the suffering of others. That's what lulz means, right? L-O-L-Z, the plural of lulz, lulz, L-U-L-Z, is the plural of LOL, laugh out loud. And to do something for the lulz is literally to do it online so that you can watch other people squirm and suffer. And that's sadism.